Hello everyone. I want to share the things I was unaware about setting personal boundaries because everyone was talking about healthy boundaries, but I struggle identifying exactly what that means in each situation and what to do exactly. So I want to share with you what enabled me to establish my own boundaries based on who I am, on what I value. Because having boundaries is a key part of taking care of ourselves and establishing healthy relationships that we all can enjoy. And overall, boundaries is a key aspect of our own healing journey. And with this information I will be sharing, you will be able to understand what are your needs, your preferences in different areas. So you can set your own boundaries based on what you prefer. And then you will be able to understand what you can use and do in the different interactions with other people and in your relationships. And I am Carlos, and I am doing this video because I used to be very insecure and I was afraid of rejection. And because of that, I was saying yes to everything without any boundary or any self-respect. And I struggled a lot. It was very conflicting. So it's been a journey for me. So I want to share with you the framework and ideas that helped me move from being completely unaware to developing healthy relationships based on healthy and clear boundaries that defend our self-respect, and as well that enable to improve the quality of my relationship as a result. And a bit of background: boundaries are these personal limits that protect our well-being so that we can stay balanced and protect our energy and enjoy connecting with others in a healthy and safe manner, which prevents us from feeling overwhelmed or feel like we are being taken advantage of. And in this, what I was missing for a long time is understanding that there are different types of boundaries, and each is for protecting us in a specific area. And I will show you the 5 different boundary types that will help you reflect, and you can then reflect on your own relationships and your preference and different events and interactions. So then you can as well identify areas that maybe you hadn't thought of that can as well hopefully improve the quality of your relationships, because the truth is that we all benefit from having healthy, clear boundaries that enable us to say yes to the good and healthy relationships. And the first boundary type is personal boundaries. This is about who we are, our identity, our values, spirituality, religion, all we stand for. It's our core, what makes us, like our identity. And we all can have different thoughts and beliefs and priorities, and that's perfectly okay. In fact, I think that this is what makes interactions and relationships interesting, right? Being able to exchange ideas and thought, because we all can have different opinions and still respect each other, even when we agree to disagree, because everyone sees the world in a different way, and we cannot expect everyone to think or feel the same way. But when someone is dismissing or rejecting our values, our beliefs, who we are, they're denying a part of ourselves. And what we can do is to protect ourselves by choosing to spend time with people that actually respect who we are and value us for who we are. So example of disrespectful situations with personal boundaries is when someone is forcing a thought, an idea, belief on us and saying that we should not think or believe something, or that when others are dismissing our opinions and not valuing our capacity to form our own opinions, or saying when someone is rejecting our individuality or identity and wants us to completely change it and adopt new ideas that don't go with us and conform to something different, like forcing values, what we stand for, spirituality or religion. And when sometimes it's not possible to agree, we can agree to disagree, but always try to respect and understand each other. And then we can decide if moving forward or not with that relationship, but from a place of mutual respect for who we are, what we value, what we stand for, what's our identity. The second boundary type, physical boundaries. These are about our personal space, our physique, our privacy as well. These boundaries show up when we connect with others, and these show up with proximity, touch, sexuality, and comments about our body and our appearance. all interactions uh, regarding and affecting our body and our integrity. So situations like how close we sit at the table or in a sofa with someone, or whether we are okay with touch, or how much space we need when we are talking to someone. All this is about our physical boundaries. So for some people, for example, getting physically close feels natural and comforting. But for others, they might take more time until they feel like opening up. So it's important to figure out what makes you and everyone comfortable and respect everyone's needs and space too. So in relationships, for example, one person might feel like loves hugs and physical touch and closeness because that's how they express and show love. But maybe the other person doesn't feel the same way, needs more time. Or if you feel like someone is pushing you into physical or sexual contact that doesn't feel right, it's okay to set a boundary and say to them, this doesn't work for me, or I'm not comfortable with this right now. And from there, you can find together ways to connect and respect each other in a way that works for both of you, understanding what are your preferences. So physical boundaries also include comments about our bodies, even if it's framed as a joke. Comments about our appearance can feel hurtful or judgmental. And if that happens, we have the right to let people know that those comments are not okay. And if they don't respect that and our opinion, then they continue. At some point, people that they don't want to change, it's perfectly fine to distance ourselves when possible from those groups of people. Because physical boundaries means creating this space for us that we feel safe, for what feels good and safe for us. It's about honoring our comfort and well-being by finding ways to connect with others that respect as well our integrity. And the third boundary type are emotional boundaries. These are all about honoring how we feel. The way we feel and connect are shaped on our early environment when we are growing up, and everyone's experiences are unique. And that this is why it's explained the attachment style. That's for another video. And two people can feel completely different about the same situation, and that's okay. What matters is giving each other the space to express our emotions without judgment or dismissing them, creating this safe space for experiencing and sharing. And when someone is denying or invalidating our feelings, it's a sign that maybe we need to set some boundary. So for instance, if we are caught in emotional roller coasters with others, whether it's with family, friends, or in a relationship, that we might end up neglecting our own emotional needs. And this happens because we are playing by someone else's rules instead of following our own emotions. So clear boundaries can help us stay centered and stable. Also, when someone assumes how we are feeling, not letting us express our feelings, denying our own experience, or doing emotional dumping when the other person does not have capacity to deal with those emotions or those challenges and is expected just to swallow all the negativity. That's not respecting an emotional boundary. So it's important to recognize that we cannot be 24/7 available for others. And if we are feeling that we want to talk about something, it's okay to ask first someone, to the other person, if they got the space and time for us. And if not, it's fine. We can choose what we want to share as well, or what we can keep private, and with whom we open up. And what we can say, and we do not have the time or energy to attend someone, we can as well protect ourselves from situations that we cannot deal with. So this actually was the hardest boundary for me, because in the environment I grew up with, it was normalized, these abusive behaviors and assuming how we all were feeling. So it was a way of denying our own experience, and for me it was quite a journey, understanding how I was feeling and not being drugged by someone else. The fourth boundary type are material boundaries. These are all about what we own and what we want to share, and protect our properties such as money, resources, items like clothing, equipment, professional equipment, a car. And we can choose the items that we are willing to lend or not, and to whom. And we can set what are the expectations on how those equipments or things should be treated. And also, if we need to do some work or for a personal project, it's totally okay to say to someone no, and when they ask for it, and we get to decide to whom and in which conditions the item has to be treated and returned. And we can say that if it's broken or damaged, they can replace it with some money, or the clothes have to be clean, or the car should be returned with fuel, and by what deadline. So material boundaries also cover finances. We have to think that if lending money to someone is causing us hardships, it's okay to say no. And if someone borrows something and doesn't return it as agreed, whether it's dirty or damaged, missing, it's important to hold them accountable and make sure that they are not left without any consequence, because then they will normalize and accept this breach. And now sometimes people might ask for money and favors, and might seem like a small thing at first, but then when it gets repeated, they might start expecting from us all the time to provide them as if it was a given. And that's where boundaries come in. There is a difference between being generous and being taken advantage of or being abused. You can simply say, I need this item and I cannot lend it right now, or I'm sorry, but lending it is not an option. And if they keep pushing, we can just keep repeating, sorry, but like I said, it's not an option right now. So we don't owe anyone an explanation beyond that. And we need to make sure that we share our belongings with the ones that earn our trust. That happened to me, that I was lending things and I was afraid to then demand them back. The fifth boundary type is time and energy. These are all about how we manage our time, our energy, and making sure we focus on what matters most to us and avoid being drained. So for example, if someone calls us or texts and we're in the middle of something important, it's totally okay not to respond right there and right away. We don't have to be available 24/7 for everyone. And you shouldn't expect others to be either for you. It's all about finding the right balance between our energy and well-being and our commitments with other people and our availability for others. So you also get to choose the activities or projects that you say yes to. And it's important to prioritize what fits your life and your well-being. And on the flip side, think about how others value your time and energy. If someone is constantly canceling plans at the last minute or showing up late, that's a sign that they are not respecting your time or energy. And I used to be very considerate, and I thought I was considerate, but not. It might happen once or twice, but if it becomes a regular pattern, it's maybe time to set a boundary. And if people are always asking for favors or expecting us to do extra job, especially when we've already met the obligations, it's okay to say no. It includes as well requesting space when we need it. If someone asks for some time, it's okay to let this person have some time. Because when we are setting boundaries like this, it's important to stick to them and respect each other and our boundaries to recover our energy. Space, especially if we need time to recharge. Before getting back in touch and with the other person, it's quite personal, but typically it's best to let the person setting the boundary to connect back, and also establish when it's okay to connect back again, so we can respect each other's energy and not force anything. And make sure that you're giving time to what fulfills you, whether it's rest, hobbies, family, and don't overcommit to things that leave you feeling exhausted. And if you find yourself constantly saying yes to things that overwhelm you, maybe it's time to take a step back and reassess. And remember, it's important to set limits on work as well. That was one of my challenges. And don't let people expect free labor and contact you after work hours, especially if you've already off the clock and you've completed your task. It used to be a struggle for me because I wanted to say yes. I was afraid of rejection, and I was trying always to be available for everyone, but it was very draining and it was feeling more exhausted. But the good thing is that all these boundaries can be learned and implemented. And now that we've explored the different types of boundaries, what helped me a lot is reflect on your own relationships, to look back on those and which boundaries, now that you know the 5 types, and where do you need to set clear limits. And it all starts by gaining awareness. And by gaining this awareness, you will know what to prioritize, and especially to take care of your well-being and create the foundation for better relationships. Because limiting unhealthy or abusive relationships opens a lot of time and energy for healthy and fulfilling ones. And that's really what makes it worth it. And I would like to know in the comments below if you've gained awareness about a situation or an area that you hadn't realized or thought before. In my case, it took me a long time until I put the whole picture together and understood different areas in my life with my own boundaries, and then I was able to enjoy much more satisfactory and fulfilling relationship, and feeling much more present because I was being respected. But I know how challenging it can be setting these boundaries. I was accepting situations because I had big fear of rejection. But now looking back, I know how valuable it is to gain this sense of control and safety. And that is why I created the I Got Through community, to help others as well with the challenges I had. And it has dedicated modules for setting boundaries and how to establish them from the things you value. And it's created especially from the point of view of people with emotional blocks or trauma that might struggle with this. And then how to rewire ourselves to make the changes permanent and break the cycle. So you can find more information in the description down below. And yeah, closing up, respect your boundaries, nurture your well-being, and build healthier connections, starting with our own personal connection. So I hope you like this video, and if so, like it, subscribe, and see you soon.